Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video talking to you about this CZ P-01 Omega Suppressor Ready model. Now this one is currently on loan from Mazama Sporting Goods. We got this thing in used, and being a CZ master dealer, they wanted me to go out and do a short little featurette video for this one. However, I wanted to take a little bit of an opportunity to go a little bit more in depth here on my channel. Now, I've only got about 300 rounds for this thing, so it's not going to be a full review, but I just wanted to talk to you about this pistol and what will hopefully be kind of a primer for more CZ pistols to come, as I recently purchased my very first one of my own, and then I actually have a P-01 that's just waiting for me on the shelf in the back for when I finally have the funds to take it home with me. But this one, like I said, is the suppressor ready model. Pretty much anything that you see that's urban gray out of the box from CZ is going to have a lot of those suppressor ready features, and that includes your threaded barrel, suppressor height sights, and one of the other cool things that they do is they throw in +2 base plates. So instead of having a 14+1 capacity, this one is sitting right at 16+1. Now, I didn't have an opportunity to shoot this thing suppressed while it was in my possession, so if you're specifically looking to find how it handles that, unfortunately I won't be able to cover that in this video, but I will be able to go a little bit of depth into my thoughts on this pistol and what kind of stuff this thing brings to market. So as I already said, this thing does come with a threaded barrel and your suppressor height sights. And the sights themselves are a 3-dot setup with tritium in both the front and the rear. So no matter what the lighting conditions, these will work for you. My personal preference is not the 3-dot setup, but it still works. It's more than sufficient on a pistol like this. And I was shooting at 25 yards on a steel silhouette, and I really had no issues with that. So can't really complain too much about that there, but there are plenty of aftermarket options for CZ pistols. Now, being the Omega model, this thing comes set up with the decocker. However, it does also come with these safeties, so if you wanted to do it with very minor modifications required, something you can do yourself, or if you don't feel comfortable, have a gunsmith do it, you can switch this to where you have a safety, so you can carry this thing cocked and locked. Now, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and leave it in the factory configuration with the decocker just to try it out like that, and honestly, with the way this trigger is shaped, it still worked pretty well for me, even my little Donald Trump hands. One of the nice things about the P-01 as opposed to your full-size 75 or your other compact PCR is this does have an accessory rail. So I did do a little bit of shooting with this with a light attached to it, and it just feels natural. It works very, very well, puts everything in the right position, at least for activation switches, and so that's a really nice thing. You match a light with your night sights, and this thing's pretty much good to go straight out of the box for whatever you might need to do with it. One of the things that I really like about CZ pistols as a whole, especially coming from Glock, which I love Glock, I still carry a Glock for now, but I'm very used to a very blocky grip. The grips on CZ pistols is far more ergonomic, and even though size-wise it's very similar to the Glock 19, it feels smaller because the grip is far more contoured and it's just a much better texture to fit your hand. Now that's going to be subjective, I guess. It fits my hand really well. May not fit everyone's out there, but it does work for me really well. Also, the factory grips have a little bit of tackiness to it, almost like the K2 Plus grips from Magpul, or like the Hogue grips, where you get a little bit of that rubberized texture, and that just really helps lock this thing down under recoil and make it very smooth shooting. Now also, this may look a little bit weird if you're not used to the look of CZ pistols, but you actually have a reversed rail system here. So the top rail rides inside the bottom rail down here, and that creates a much less mass going over the top of your hand. So even though you can't get your hand super high up in relative to the slide, it still has a very smooth recoil impulse and is very, very pleasant to shoot from my experience. Now with the Omega models, you do have the ambidextrous decocker or ambidextrous safety, depending on how you want to set it up. So whether you're righty or lefty, you can decock it, or if I were to do it with me as a righty, I can do that just fine. Now, one of the nice features about the double action, single action style pistol such as this one is the single action trigger pull is pretty much going to beat any striker fired pistol out there on the market. That being said, the double action trigger pull is usually pretty long and heavy and can negatively affect accuracy if you're not used to it, but the single action trigger pull is very, very pleasant. I was doing some shooting for groups at about 6 yards from my shooting position, and I was getting very nice groups with just regular S&B 115 grain ammo. I can't really complain about that, and with the other shooting I've done with my personally owned P-09 and a P-07 that my friend let me shoot, I've just really grown to like these triggers and these things, and it makes it very easy to shoot very well. Now, a lot of times when you get a pistol packed with features such as this one, you're looking at a pretty hefty price tag. You know, like the FN 509 TAC that I've talked about before comes to market right around $1,000. These things brand new come in less than $700, and this one, which was used in the store, hence why they let me come out and shoot it, is under $700. And that's a very reasonable price for what you get. Now, you do only get 2 magazines, and the availability of magazines and holsters is not quite as prolific here in the United States as like Glock or Smith & Wesson or anything like that. But they're still readily available. You can still get them. It's not quite unobtainium like some of those other kind of niche pistols out there. It's still readily available, just not quite as accessible in all cases as those Glock or other mags and holsters. So like I said, this is kind of more of an overview of this pistol. I don't want to go super in-depth into longevity or anything crazy like that just because I don't have the experience at this point in time. However, like I said, I do currently have a P-01, just a standard P-01 on layaway right now, and hopefully in the very near future I'll be taking that thing home. Basically, it was an offer I couldn't refuse, and I've always wanted to try out the P-01 because I've heard all these things about it, and it's the size of pistol that I typically carry anyway, so it just seemed like the perfect matchup. But again, just from the little bit of shooting so far, I'm really, really liking this pistol. Is it perfect? No. The double action trigger pull is very, very long, and especially if you have smaller hands like I do, that reach is pretty far out there. It does not give you, does not set you up for success as far as getting good trigger placement, but depending on how big your hands are, that may not be an issue for you. And even if it is an issue, again, you can carry it cocked and locked with the safety configuration on this, which brings that trigger way further back and makes it a lot easier for people with small hands to shoot it just fine. And that's actually how I've been shooting my P-09 predominantly up to this point. Also, with a lot of the suppressor ready models that are currently being brought to market, this thing is not optics ready. Now, a lot of the striker fired pistols do come optics ready, the P10, the P10C and the P10F, and I even think some of the P10S models allow you to mount optics. These do not come out of the box that way. However, they can be modified. I know the gunsmith that works at our store has modified lots of CZ pistols for optics, so that's definitely something that can be done, but is going to come at a considerable cost on top of the purchase price of your pistol. So all in all, I'm really liking the CZ line of pistols. This is kind of my first soiree into it, and the more I shoot CZs, the more I seem to like them. I'm not planning on getting rid of my Glocks anytime soon, but I'm definitely starting to transition more into this realm. And again, with my P-09 that I currently have and the P-01 that I'm going to be getting, this has given me a lot of confidence that I'm really going to like that P-01, and I'm definitely excited to do a lot more shooting. And obviously, at that point, once I get 1,000 or so rounds through my P-01, I'm going to be doing a much more in-depth video at that point. So at this point, I really want to get your guys' opinion on these. Now, first of all, do you like me doing these little more brief product feature videos as opposed to the in-depth reviews? Because if so, I can definitely do more like this because I'm going to be doing more feature videos for the store. So I'm going to be getting my hands on quite a few different pistols. Or do you just prefer the full-on reviews that I typically do? Let me know one way or the other, and we'll see where things are from there. But also, who out there has a CZ pistol, especially a P-01, and possibly even a suppressor-ready urban gray model P-01? What are your thoughts? What has been your experience? There's got to be a reason that CZs have clung around and been so popular across the world for so long. What are your thoughts? What kind of longevity are you getting? Let me know your experiences down in the comments because, again, I only have a couple hundred rounds through it, and I know guys out there have many, many thousands of rounds through their pistols. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and throw those in the comment section down below. I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can. I want to say thanks to my patrons for making videos like this one possible. The store does send me with ammo to get enough footage to use for their feature videos, but using patron funds, I'm able to get several hundred more rounds on top of that to be able to run these things a little bit more and a little bit harder so that I can get a much better kind of feel for how this pistol performs, even in the short term, to be able to do videos like this one. So if you want to financially support the channel, or you want to get in our live streams, Discord server, anything like that, definitely check out my link to Patreon in the description below. And if you want to see more about CZ pistols, definitely stay subscribed to my channel so you'll see when I do my P-09 review and eventually my P-01 review sometime in the near-ish future in the next several months. So anyway, with all that being said, as always, as it starts to rain here, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.